Shalom and welcome to Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible. Today we're looking at a new book, the book of Numbers, chapter 1, 54 verses. V2 says, according to their number by their names. So you're counting individuals by each one's respective name or family name, and actually it says here, by family name, and the father is the head of the household, versus with the number of names. So you're counting individuals by their respective names. So if somebody is named Yeshua and someone else is named Yeshua, then you count all the Yeshuas. But in the Septuagint, it's basically counting people according to their respective households. So if you're part of the house of Yehuda, you're counted as a member of the house of Yehuda, not by your respective name, which is could be, Yeshua or Moshe or whatever, Aharon, and you're counting everyone who has the same name. So that can be a little confusing. It's a little more clear in the Sept. And their poles was added to the Maz, which means by their head. That is a similar meaning to the Sept when it says their heads. Verse 3, we have an omission, which is take account of them with their strength, which can mean individual strength or collective strength. V4, there shall be each one of the rulers of the tribe versus a man of every tribe. So there's going to be one head or a ruler in the sept, but a head of the household in the MT, in the Maz. Verse 14, going all the way there, for our next difference, a continuous difference we notice is the name Ruel in the Greek Raguel versus Duel. So you're going to see that continuous difference. I won't mention that anymore. V18 says, first day of the second month. First day of the month in the second year. Okay. First day of the month in the second year. That's the timeline that is given. This was given at the start, I believe the start of the chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if it mentions it here. Yeah, first day of the second month. So that's verse 1 in the Septuagint. So, but here it clarifies in verse 18, it's also the first day of the month in the second year, possibly the second year from you're counting to the next Shemitah, because there's 7 years in a sabbatical cycle. So this is the second year. And it is the first day of the second month, which was mentioned again in the first verse. And the Masoretic, it says it's the first day of the second month, and each one is giving a different piece of the date. And it says they registered them after their lineage versus declared their pedigrees. So every male according to their number versus by their poles, by their head. So it doesn't really say male, but in the sept it is talking about males. Verse 20, a continuous difference. We see here a statement, a saying that says that went out with the host versus able to go forth to war. We're going to look at that in more detail. Verse 21, we see a discrepancy of numbers, 46,400, whereas the Masoretic has the number 46 and 500. We'll look into that more too. Verse V24, Judah was listed as third in the Septuagint, whereas you have Judah listed fourth in the Masoretic. Gad is listed as eighth in the Sept, and Gad is listed in third in the Maz. So that's the difference there. And looking at verse 45 now, so we're going all the way ahead to our next difference, which is almost 21 verses later. We have a continuous difference here. It says that statement that goes out with the host. There it is, with their host from 20 years old and upward. Everyone that goes out, in brackets, I put with the host, to set himself in battle array in Israel. So these are that went out with the host. Could be a Hebrewism. That's some speculation. I'm speculating that that could be a Hebrewism, or it is an abbreviated way to express that they were fighting. They were fighting ready. They were ready for warfare. Looking at the Masoretic, it says able to go forth to war. Again, similar expressions, but I believe that everyone that goes out with the host in brackets, that's usually the words that are associated with that, with the sentence, is that goes out with the host, is how it was expressed previously in this chapter. Again, I believe that it is a Hebrewism that expresses these are men ready for fighting. They're ready for battle. That's what it means. Everyone that goes out with the host. That's what that means. Okay. So we see here as well the number we have in verse 46 is 603,550. And there's a discrepancy here. There's a discrepancy of 100. When I did the math, I added up all the numbers in the Septuagint. We actually get a number of 603,450. So there's a missing 100. If we look at the Masoretic text, it says 603,550. Okay. So is the Masoretic more accurate, is what I'm asking. I'm not sure why I asked that because, I asked that because the numbers from the Masoretic text, I think they add up to 603, 450. So it seems both translations have the number wrong. When you actually do the math, you get 603, 450. So where did the missing 100 go? That's an interesting question. So please comment if you know where they went. Verse 49, we have the word here muster versus number. Verse 50, they added bear the tabernacle and all the vessels thereof. So that was added to the Mass. Verse 51, advances to touch it versus come near. Um, I don't see it here in the Mass. Oh, there comes nigh. 52. I mean, just change that. Comes nigh. Okay. Verse 52, order versus order, company are two terms used here. In the Sept, in the Mass, it describes them as a camp and a standard, and a standard could mean a flag. Okay. Verse 53, there's an omission here. The Levites encamp. So fronting it, so they're in front of it. And so that was omitted, that the Levites will encamp. Or it says here, actually it says the Levites pitch, so it wasn't, that part wasn't omitted, it was fronting it. Fronting it was omitted. So I put Levites in camp because that's the context. So fronting it is what was omitted. They're at the front. No sin versus no wrath. Keep the guard. It says here, keep the guard, which would mean to protect it from those who are not supposed to touch it or enter it, versus keep the charge. So some may think this could refer to the things the Levites are responsible for, specifically when it comes to the tabernacle, such as their duties and responsibilities as relating to the tabernacle. And this can be confusing. But in my opinion, it looks more like that they are guarding the tabernacle from those who are not supposed to touch it or enter it. So they're going to keep guard of the tabernacle of witness. That's why they are at the front, because they're protecting it, they're guarding it, they're keeping it. They're not just keeping the charge, such as what I mentioned earlier, the duties, responsibilities, the items. It's not only that, they're actually protecting it. It could be including all those things. And the last verse we're looking at for this very first chapter of Numbers, and I'm so glad, I can start this. I'm very thankful for this opportunity to present these truths to you, these ancient truths. Verse 54, we have an omission. Aaron and Aharon was omitted. So it wasn't just Moses, Aaron was part of this too. And he was left out in the Masoretic. So that's all for this chapter. Thank you very much for your time. May our Father bless you and make your way prosperous. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll look at Numbers chapter 2. And you've been watching Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible. Shalom.